The King of Belgium has, for the first time in the country's history, expressed what he calls his deepest regrets for colonial rule in Africa. King Philippe acknowledged that acts of violence and cruelty were committed, and the wounds are still being felt in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo. His message was sent to President Felix Tshisekedi on the 60th anniversary of independence. Well, Belgium's King Leopold seized part of Central Africa in 1885 and ran it for personal profit. Historians say as many as 10 million people died during his rule from murder, starvation or disease. After his ownership of Congo ended in 1908, he handed the country over to the Belgian state. Several statues of Leopold have been vandalized or torn down in recent weeks as part of protests against racism. During Belgium's colonial rule, mixed-race children were kidnapped from their families and placed in orphanages. 5 of them have filed a lawsuit against the Belgian state, accusing it of crimes against humanity. Their lawyer says babies born to Belgian and Congolese parents were known as children of shame.
It comes back again, so much that it remains anchored, painful. When we were small, we did not realise because we lived, we survived in a way. After, with distance, it is painful.
Let's speak now to Benedicte Ndjoko, who is a historian and a Congolese political activist, joins us now from Geneva. Benedicte, welcome to the programme. So we have this, the King expressing regrets, but does that go far enough?
Thank you for having me. I think that excuses are not enough because we cannot just stop there. Maybe excuses are a beginning, but we need to think history, and we need to try to teach history about what happened in the Congo. And unfortunately, when we look at Belgium, there is no sign of the government or the Belgians themselves to try to understand what that story was, what colonialism did to African people and Congolese people here in particular.
Within the DRC itself, what is the sense there of the colonial past, of the relationship for people with the colonial past?
Well, we need to go back in history a little bit. At the independence, what happened is that we had names of streets that were removed in 1960, 1961, and 1964. The cities were renamed also, and the statues, all the imagery of colonialism was taken away. But what happened in a certain way is that although all that imagery from colonialism was removed from public space, the structures of power in the Congo relied actually very much on the Leopoldian state, and this gone until today. So it is quite difficult for Congolese people to really reflect on that period in particular, because education is a disaster, and that memory is not confronted, and Congolese people didn't have the opportunity until now to write their own history. So it is difficult to reflect on those issues, and the Congolese state until today didn't take time to really try to tackle those problems.
Right, so it's about education within the DRC, but also outside, of course, about re-education, getting it into school curriculums in Belgium, in Europe, really across the world.
Yes, I think so, because well, what is interesting with all what happened in the world after the death of George Floyd is that the world was confronted with the question of racism, and racism has a long history that begins with slavery and unfolds until today. So in a sense, what happened in Belgium, well, with those statues being boxed up, is that the African diaspora, or the Belgian that have Congolese origins, or Congolese people living in that particular space, found a way to challenge that narrative about colonization, and also challenge the racism that they experience in Belgium. And it was, of course, I think, natural to address that through the figure of Leopold II, who's the beacon of brutality, subjugation, and exploitation.
Very interesting talking to you, Benedicte. Do appreciate your time. Benedicte Ndjoko talking to us there from Geneva. Thank you.
Thank you.